Welcome to the English Matura with JB podcast. Today we will explore the inspiring journey of one of our most cherished sports heroes. Most athletic records get broken by young champions in their prime, but in 1983, a 61-year-old potato farmer shattered not just a world record, but everything we thought we knew about human endurance.
That's quite a statement. What happened?
Picture this. The world's toughest ultramarathon, 875 kilometers from Sydney to Melbourne. Professional athletes from around the globe showed up, and then there's Cliff Young, wearing overalls and work boots, looking more ready to plow a field than run the equivalent of 20 marathons.
I'm guessing the organizers weren't exactly thrilled about this?
Well, they actually tried to stop him from competing. They were terrified he might die on the highway. But when they sent someone to test his abilities, Cliff just kept pace with this fit 27-year-old for hours, shuffling along with this peculiar running style he'd developed from chasing cattle.
So what made his running style so unique?
You know how elite runners have this perfect form? Cliff had what became known as the Young Shuffle, this ultra-efficient movement he'd developed running through muddy fields in gumboots. But here's where it gets really interesting. All the pros had this strategy of running 18 hours and sleeping 6. Nobody told Cliff that was the rule.
Oh no, don't tell me he just kept going.
That's exactly what happened. His support crew accidentally woke him at 2 a.m. instead of 6, and Cliff just kept running, in the dark, through rain and wind. While everyone else slept, he shuffled on, covering an extra 30 kilometers that first night.
The physical toll must have been incredible. I mean, we're talking about a man in his 60s running for days.
By the end, he'd lost 8 toenails, his feet were severely infected, but get this, he didn't just finish, he won by nearly 2 days. And then, in this incredible gesture, he shared his $10,000 prize money with the other runners who finished.
That's remarkable for someone who grew up so poor, he had to chase rabbits for food during the Depression.
Right? And what's fascinating is how this completely transformed his life. Suddenly, this humble farmer who'd barely left his hometown became a national celebrity. He got the keys to Melbourne, appeared at Parliament House, but he famously said it didn't swell in his head.
Well, that kind of overnight fame must have brought some interesting changes to his life.
Oh, you have no idea. At 61, he suddenly found himself with female admirers for the first time in his life. He ended up marrying a 22-year-old woman named Mary in this elaborate Westfield-sponsored shopping mall wedding, though that marriage only lasted 5 years.
So, what happened to him after all the fame died down?
That's where it gets even more inspiring. He kept running well into his 70s, even attempted to run around Australia. The Young Shuffle is now actually studied by ultramarathon runners as an incredibly efficient technique for long-distance running.
It really challenges our assumptions about age and ability, doesn't it?
Exactly. And here's what I find most fascinating. Cliff's greatest advantage came from not knowing the rules. While everyone else followed the conventional wisdom about sleeping, he just did what made sense to him. Sometimes being an outsider gives you the freedom to innovate.
That's quite a legacy. From potato farmer to revolutionizing ultramarathon running.
And you know what? Right up until he passed away in 2003, he was still shuffling around the backyard of the family that had taken him in. Even in his final days in the hospital, when people would remind him of that famous race, his eyes would light up with that same spark.
So what would you say is the biggest lesson from Cliff's story?
Well, I think it's that there's no expiration date on discovering what you're capable of. Cliff didn't just win a race. He showed us that sometimes our limitations are just rules we've accepted without questioning. And maybe, just maybe, the best way to break records is to not know they exist in the first place.
Yes, indeed. Cliff Richard's extraordinary journey proves that limits are often just illusions. What truly matters is passion, perseverance, and the courage to defy expectations. At 61, he didn't just run an ultramarathon, he redefined what's possible, reminding us all that greatness isn't bound by age, but by the fire within.
So, whatever your finish line may be, take inspiration from Cliff. The road may be long, but the strength to conquer it lies within you. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries, and remember, your greatest victories are still ahead. Thanks for listening. That's all for today. Goodbye.